The fourth power requires full independence from politics. Written by SOT. Com. Al. 8 May 2014. The fourth power requires complete independence from by Leon Qafzezi. The development of the media, whether written or electronic, has received an unimaginable professional development in terms of a country's freedom space, always being compared to the years of dictatorship. In these years, to cut a long story short, the isolation of the country and its citizens for 46 years was also characterized by a synchronous isolation of the media. Mainly those written, that the electronic one came out much later, being represented by RTSH, who were the voice of the party alongside Radio Tirana, which was from the beginning of the post-war period. The media in that period was absolutely under a strict and radical pressure and control of the ALP, that is, of a policy of a single party. That made the law, as in all isolated Albanian life, with its ideology borrowed from the East. But times evolved in favor of the Albanian media, which gained a new dimension in this kind of relative independence in democracy, but not without risk in time and space, in these years of shocking transition. A country and a people without media is in complete darkness, because the media is the eye and the ear. The Albanian media started the long and problematic way in democracy with the atavisms of the old senses who wanted to misuse it for their dark intentions, manipulating it politically. But they could do it despite the power they enjoyed. The Albanian mass media was already listed alongside international mass media organizations, where we can mention International Federation of Journalists, Reporters Sans Frontières, Journalist Safety Service, International Freedom of Expression of Exchange, Euroimage, etc. etc. From these world-class mass media and with a long experience in the field of world journalism, Albanian journalism learned that its first task was to respect the truth and the right in relation to the public to which it was addressed. She learned to defend the principles of freedom and honesty in its publications, comments and criticisms. She would be in full compliance with the facts, recognizing the origin and far from a falsification of the documentation she possessed in cases of an investigative task. The tools of this media were news, photography and document, as well as maintaining professional and confidential secret. These, as well as many other principles of a free and professional journalism, started and gradually absorbed the Albanian mass media in time and space. Speaking in Washington, D.C. at the annual Harold W. Anderson Lecturers' Annual Meeting on Global Communication, 1989, Stefan Bratkowski, president of the Polish Association of Journalists, called for a Marshall Intellectual Plan for the free press in Poland and the rest of Eastern Europe. Many Western organizations responded to his requests for lecturers, advisors, consultants, manuals, reading rooms, publishing houses. The appeal of Mr. Bratkowski received attention from both the public and private sectors of the West. The Albanian media's confrontation with freedom did not go smoothly. It was accompanied, especially after the emergence of independent media, with ugly phenomena such as increasing pressure of political power on these media, as well as pronounced lack of professionalism in the ranks of journalists. The first legislative efforts to regulate the functioning of the media in Albania were consumed in 1992. when the People's Assembly, today the Assembly, approved Law No. 7756, dated the 11th of October 1993, on the press. However, the legislative process that led to the adoption of Law 7756 was characterized by significant deficits as interest groups. Print media owners and journalists were left out of the legislative process, deprived of the opportunity to control the drafting of the law. As a result, media people were quickly confronted with the unpleasant reality of a repressive law. Over the years, Law 7756 was repealed in its entirety by the successor legislature. Other laws of direct or indirect importance to the media, such as the law on public and private radio and television in the Republic of Albania, the law on the right to information on official documents, the law on personal data protection, the law on classified information, etc., have been approved by the Assembly at the end of a more comprehensive legislative process. But the latest phenomenon that is being observed in this evolution of the media in our country, despite the prominent intensity of the legislative reform with European leanings, has emerged the symptoms of ignorance and consequently non-implementation of laws. This is more obvious and problematic in the electronic media sector, which have become a fact in the Albanian market in a